Welcome to the Cycle Starters podcast, where we explore ancestral healing, astrological wisdom, and the powerful journeys of those breaking generational patterns. I'm your host, Heather Rebecca Wilson, and today I am so thrilled to welcome Christina Elena McHugh, also known as the Yogic Cowgirl. Christina is a certified Kundalini instructor and Acutonics practitioner who beautifully bridges the ancient wisdom of the East with the untamed spirit of the Wild West. Her personal transformation story, including releasing over 100 pounds and years of emotional trauma, demonstrates the power of her philosophy: if you can feel it, you can heal it. In today's episode, we'll explore Christina's ancestral healing journey, discuss the cycles she's starting in her lineages, and learn about her unique approach to transformation through sound healing, Kundalini yoga, and breathwork. We'll also dive into her upcoming self-love meditation series, where she helps others align with their highest potential. So whether you're on your own healing journey or simply curious about combining Eastern practices with Western wisdom, you are absolutely in the right place. And let's get into it with Christina. Hi, sis. So happy to see you and to be connecting with you in this way.
I know. I'm so excited about this, and I thank you and I appreciate you so much.
You're so welcome, and I appreciate you. So, all right, so we're here, and we're having this conversation while the wildfires are burning here in Southern California. I know that you're in Arizona. There's a lot of, collective grief and rage and shock in the air. And I'm excited for this conversation because I feel like your story is so powerful in terms of navigating growth and challenge and what it really takes to create a new reality. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I know that you're in the middle of a big life transition right now. You're going through some stuff. So, let's start with whatever you'd like to share about your ancestry and your ancestors.
Well, I am half Mexican. You never know looking at me. I'm like, I get confused for so many things, but my mom is Mexican and my dad is German English. I have lots and lots of history that I know about my ancestry on my dad's side. So that's very well documented. On my mother's side, it's not so much documented, but I had a very, very strong relationship with my grandma. She came here legally with all my aunts and uncles and with my grandfather, and actually never learned English. So my grandma only spoke Spanish. So I come from a multicultural background. We have everything from Apache to Sub-African to Chinese in my lineage. So there's lots going on inside.
Thank you for sharing that. And we have that multicultural background in common. So I can definitely relate to you in that way. So,
Right.
I mean, when we met, which was over 10 years ago, we were both working as makeup artists in, cosmetics retail. And we worked together on a project. We have other friends in common that we love dearly and hold close to our hearts. And it's been such a gift to reconnect because you've been on such a tremendous life-changing journey since we first met. So can you tell us a little bit about how your life has changed and, basically how you got into becoming a healer and Kundalini yoga practitioner, because so much has changed. And I know that falls in line with your ancestral healing story. So what can you share with us about that?
I think has always been inside of me. I'm always kind of like almost like a calling. And it wasn't until I became a mother
Right.
that was changing. I mean, I had my second one all by myself.
Mm.
Well, it was planned and a water birth, but she just came just so fast and instantly. And that was like definitely a life-changing moment for me. I'd say calling in your spirit. It was very, very powerful. And it was like the divine feminine was showing up. The body knew, the mind didn't, but my body knew and knew everything what to do. And that was almost like an out-of-body experience to be a part of. Being a mother has definitely shifted everything for me. The aspects, how I look at the world, wanting to make it a better place for everyone. The children are the future. I grew up with that. I believe that. I know that. And having two little girls shifted all of that. Because I had to take a real good look at myself in the mirror and be like, is this what I want to project for them in the world? There's so many things that are happening in the world today. And it's like, there's not even heroes for our kids anymore, role models for our children. And yeah, I decided I would do that for my girls.
That is beautiful. And motherhood is a whole other life adventure. Definitely from what I hear, and I'm a bonus mom. I just became a bonus mom this year, but that's a whole spiritual growth journey, right? And these young ones that come in are young elders and are teachers.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I learned so much from my girls. Like, they are my teachers right now. So I learned so much. But it was actually really looking at myself and deciding that, I want to be the best example for my children. What would that take? And I've always dabbled with, yoga and eating healthy, and so many things happen when you have children. Your body just shifts with hormones and emotions. And it's almost like you either deal with it or you push it down. Does that make sense? And I decided to deal with it.
Also, tell me, what's your ancestral healing journey been like? And what would you say have been the biggest challenges for you?
Honestly, tapping into the belief in yourself, believing your self-worth, knowing your self-worth. I believe if you look at your line, I'm sure you can see just in your own personal line, what your grandmothers, mothers, aunts have gone through. There's like an epigenetics that happens that just gets transferred on as you go through each generation. And I know that I needed to heal my stuff and my grandmother's stuff because I don't want to transfer that on to my children. So it's kind of like it ends with me, starts with me,
Mm-hmm.
And so working and dealing with that and doing that through just meditations, listening to your guides that come in, listening to your body. My whole thing to me is actually I remember just sitting there and just listening to my body. Something I just didn't really pay attention to. Your body aches and you have your problems, but no, I'm talking about listening to your body. And once I started to do that, it's interesting because you do have these different shifts that occur, like doors that open and you explore and you learn new things. Also, just sitting and quieting your monkey mind that we have, just sitting and just being quiet and feeling, but not feeling. Does that make sense? Like you are just there to witness. And if you have that thought that comes in that's real negative, just let it go. I love words. I study words. This is my favorite thing. It's just the thing. When you realize that your words really matter, the vibrational frequency of your words matter, frequency matters, you'll shift everything. You will shift everything.
Well, so what patterns do you feel specifically that you're transforming in your lineages?
Empowerment, definitely empowerment. I know that with my own personal daughters, my biggest thing is to never stifle their voice in any way.
Right.
Make sure that they know they have a voice, and trust me, they do. If anything, more or less empowerment and realizing the power that you actually have and believing in yourself. It takes you to believe in yourself.
So shedding 100 pounds is huge. I mean, what was that like?
I always yo-yoed so I could diet, exercise. And it wasn't until I'd practice mind, body, soul. It was like I never did all three at the same time. I could only do maybe time or focus on two at a time. But trying to incorporate all three at a time was something I had to walk that path. And then one day I realized, yeah, I'm going to do this. I know how to do, I know how to do my mind, my body, my soul. Let's walk this path and do all three. Or I also practice Acutonics, which is a frequency healing on the body, which you do. It's like acupuncture, it's acutherapy, but you do it on meridian points on the body. So it resonates through you. We'd gotten these new forks called Hygeia, and she is the daughter of the god of medicine. And hygiene comes from detoxification, purification. And I realized that what I needed to do was like purify myself from like down to the cellular level. Like I'm talking like down to the cell, as above, so below. Like I needed to cleanse myself, detoxify myself, purify myself. And so I used these chimes on me to resonate in that frequency. And while I did that, I also got into keto eating, intermittent fasting. I'm actually a keto vegetarian, which is pretty difficult, but I do it. Intermittent fasting is huge. I started to shift the way I looked at myself, started doing quantum meditation on top of doing Kundalini yoga and playing the gongs. You start to make small changes and you have shifts that occur and you start to change and you start to resonate in that vibe, that frequency. And when you start to align with your higher self, and you are writing down your thoughts, your affirmations, your mantras that you have, so you can really resonate and feel that feeling and become that vibe. You start to align with your higher self. It was like almost as if she just showed up one day. But it wasn't like that. Does that make sense? So things had to occur and many shifts had to happen. But when it did, so many doors opened up. You do have to realize, though, that when you do ask to be healed, Sean Korn says it best. She's one of my favorite yoga teachers. She says, spiritual progress is like detoxification.
Yeah.
Things have to come up in order to be released. Once you've asked to be healed, then all those unhealed places that you have stuck in your body, they are forced to the surface and you have to deal with it. You can keep pushing them back down, but that's what causes what they say is called dis-easement in the body, because everyone is pushing down everything they should be feeling. And a lot of the stuff that we're feeling is stuff that occurred to us when we were little kids that we just never just dealt with.
Well, I think that is powerful wisdom you just shared, because I do think that there is a misconception that healing, it's all going to be love, light, and butterflies. And the truth is that all your unhealed stuff comes up for you to face, but also transmute, right? And so there's an element of trusting the process, right? It's coming up because it's time for it to be healed. You actually have the capacity to do it, and you're in the environment where it's safe enough to do the alchemy, right? Of shifting those wounds into spiritual gifts or creative potential or whatnot. Yeah, your story is really inspirational, because I'm sure there are many of our viewers and listeners and people in our community who have been struggling with body image, self-love. And that's why I'm so excited for this workshop that you're going to be teaching in the membership this February. So for those of you who aren't familiar with my work, I'm an Ancestral healing guide and an inclusive culture catalyst. So I do DEI consulting and coaching. So I have a monthly membership. It's called the Ancestral Healing Collective, and it is a sacred space that I've created for female-bodied cycle breakers and cycle starters to alchemize deep ancestral wounds into spiritual gifts, creative potential, shifts to higher consciousness, and embodied joy using astrology and pleasure as transformative medicine. Because in my experience and in my practice, I know from a really grounded, embodied place that you can't experience real transformation of your reality until you shift and heal on all levels of your being, including the physical level. And so that's why in this collective, we do not spiritually bypass the body. The body is very, very important. And as you said, in terms of the epigenetic component of ancestral healing, all of those collective traumas or ancestral traumas, they get passed down through DNA as cellular memories, right? So you cannot spiritually bypass the body. You definitely cannot spiritually bypass your pelvic landscape, because your womb, your cervix, this is all your connection to other dimensions, to the earth, to ancestors, all that. So I'm so excited. You're teaching this workshop in February, and this is actually happening Wednesday, February 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. PST. And the workshop is called Discover Inner Peace and Radiate Self-Love. So, Christina, for people who are interested in participating, what would you tell them in order to get the most out of this experience?
Well, I would let you know that what I teach is not your typical yoga that you're going to find at a strip mall. I call it kind of like woo-woo yoga. Um, it's a spiritual yoga. It's the mother of all yoga. And you are going to listen to your body. It's going to be a very, very gentle workshop. I will guide you on a meditation at the end of the workshop. When we do the yoga, I will also do a sound bath and a gong bath for you. I'm very excited about it because it is different. You will be chanting. You will be saying chants that will resonate in your body, that will bring about the changes that you need. That's what's so great about Kundalini yoga is you become this resonant frequency. You start to vibrate in those mantras that tune you in to that ancient quantum technology. It is a quantum technology. They've perfected it. I mean, for other people to like maybe get a little bit more research on it before they have documents, they're called the gateway documents. So there's definitely places for people to research. But what I'll be teaching is more of a gentle, divine feminine aspect to the yoga.
I love it. And I love that we're doing this 2 days before Valentine's Day. I think
So
love
excited.
is the theme of the month, and love isn't just romantic love. It's, self-love. It's love for our friends and family, agape love, cosmic love, divine love. So I think this is the perfect topic for us to be exploring inside of the membership. So if you are interested in participating, I will put the link to sign up for the class in the description below. It's included in the monthly membership. Members also get access to my growing library of amazing workshops that practitioners have led in the past. However, if you're not part of the membership, female-bodied beings across all lineages and cultures are welcome to join. It's just $30 to participate. And then you'll only get access to the live experience and not the recording. So that's how that works. So I'll put all of that information in the description below. So speaking of the Ancestral Healing Collective, I mentioned that we engage with astrology as a tool to empower you along your ancestral healing journey. I've certainly used it in that way. And so I wanted to ask you, Christina, if you feel comfortable sharing your sun, moon, and rising sign with our community, if you know them.
Definitely. I'm a Libra sun,
Mhm.
Leo moon, and a Gemini rising.
Well, I'm also Gemini rising. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so we have that in common. Okay, so you said Libra sun, it's cardinal air, and then Leo moon. So that's fixed fire, and your Gemini rising. Okay, so you got a bunch of air and then some fire in your big three. So, okay, so where you shine, that's your sun sign with Libra, who is ruled by the goddess Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, and pleasure. Libra is very much, in its high expression at least, concerned with justice and balance and creating harmony and creating beauty. So that is where you shine. And certainly you were doing that long ago when I met you, as a makeup artist, right? But it's evolved, you're still creating beauty, you're still creating balance and harmony, but you're just kind of doing it in a different way now in your
Definitely
in your
love the
practice,
way that you.
right?
Yeah, I love the way that you put that. Definitely, beauty is from the inside. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
shines through the heart. That's where it comes from. That's where true beauty comes from. Is your heart. And when your
Yeah.
heart is shining, your eyes are shining. Everything about you radiates. Inner beauty is more important than outer beauty. And that's one thing that has been very surprising for me is by practicing these different ancient techniques, I've shifted. I will show you pictures. Does that make sense? That's all I can say is I've shifted.
Yeah.
Whole frequency has changed, and it's even changed my own personal look, which is just it's amazing. It's amazing.
It really is amazing, the transformation that, I've witnessed you go through. I mean, it's really mind-blowing. So this Leo moon, I'm so curious about it. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Western tropical astrology, and I'm looking at it through the lens of life path astrology, which was the methodology that I was trained in, and then additionally, I'm looking at these things through an ancestral healing lens. So your moon represents your emotions, your ancestral wounds, but also the gifts that your ancestors gave you. And so with Leo being fixed fire, and fire is the element that represents passion and intuition and inspiration, Leo is like the devoted performer. They have huge hearts, and part of the Leo growth journey, what I found is that it's learning to be in right relationship with attention and praise, because you can be in unhealthy relationship with it, right? You can be obsessed with it, need it all the time. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you can be completely averse to the spotlight, right? Like you can't take a compliment.
Yes.
So part of what I support clients with is learning how to do their moon, which is essentially learning how to give yourself what you need, taking ownership and responsibility of that, giving yourself what you need in order to feel safe and at home in your own energy. So I'm so curious because I haven't interviewed anybody who has a Leo moon that I can recall. What do you do to tend to your emotional life to feel safe and at home and balanced emotionally?
Well, I'm kind of like that Leo that was like a verse to it. So now I'm finding myself in it, because I realize that I do have a gift to share and I want to share it and I would like to help others. It is something that is a calling for me. So I had to step into that, and that took lots of journaling. I journal a lot. I do a lot of manifestation journaling, 369, which is, doing it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night, your affirmations, so that you can kind of solidify that in you. You know what I mean? That's what resonates in you. I'm also of a generation that's not very comfortable in front of the camera. So it took doing a lot of just video blogs for myself just to be comfortable in this realm. And by doing that, it was very healing for me because I was able to get out the things that I needed to get out and say, and then was able to go back and watch them and learn from myself, actually, which was really kind of cool because I was like, oh, wow, I totally forgot that. Oh, yeah, it was a lesson. That was my lesson. Thanks. So lots and lots of journaling. I also meditate. I meditate every day. My day is not right unless I do it. And it sets your intent for the whole day. One of my favorite mantras I have right now that I do every day for myself because I am going through a bit of a transition right now. But it's I believe that miracles will happen to me today. And just say that over and over again. I believe miracles will happen. And guess what? They do. They do.
That's beautiful. And the journaling makes sense too, being a Gemini rising, because Gemini is, our rising sign is the vehicle for our divine mission, for our purpose in this life. And it's also like your rising sign qualities are what the people that you're meant to serve, it's what they see in you that they want to develop in themselves. And Gemini being mutable air, and air is like our thoughts, our words, our communication, our consciousness, our beliefs. The writing makes a lot of sense, right? It's like, how do I make sense of this mentally, right? And then also watching yourself. I totally relate because I had to go on my own journey being comfortable on camera. I was doing all of these interviews, like interviewing all the practitioners, the guest teachers for the membership. I was doing it kind of like hidden on IG Live, and all of these recordings were just living on Instagram. and nobody was seeing them. But it took me a year of doing that. And then even before that, it was a year of just doing tarot readings online for me to feel confident enough to say, yeah, I'm doing a podcast.
Right.
I had to build up to it. But I think part of our joint mission is not only taking things that seemingly on the surface are unrelated and tying them together, because Gemini's so good at that, right? Like we see the connections between everything, but also communicating that and then also embodying that balance of divine masculine and divine feminine too. So cool. Thank you for sharing all of that astro information. I think that's really, it's intriguing to me. It's intriguing to our viewers. And yeah, it's super cool. So, Christina, what are you working on now that you're super excited about that you'd like to share?
Right now, I am working on several things. I am writing a book about my experiences, what I've gone through. I'm also opening up a treatment center in Arizona where I can actually treat people with Acutonics, where they can actually feel what it is like to be treated with the tuning forks. I am putting together classes online too. So I've got lots going on that I'm really excited
I
about.
love it. I'm so excited for you. Well, so if folks want to learn more about you, find out how to work with you, where should they go to learn more?
They can go to my website at yogiccowgirl.com. They can find information about me there.
Amazing. Fantastic. Are you on Instagram at all or no?
I am. I am on Instagram. My name on Instagram is Soy Christina Elena. That's where they'll find me on Instagram.
Okay.
Or
Awesome.
Yogic Cowgirl on TikTok, if that's still a thing.
I know, right?
For
We don't
us.
know what's going on. Okay, cool. Well, so I will put all of those links in the description. I will put the link to Christina's workshop that she's teaching on February 12th also in the description. So you all know that this is the Cycle Starters podcast. And so, Christina, I end every interview asking my guest, what new cycles are you starting in your lineages?
Cycles. Well, this adventure, I'm doing this. I've decided to jump in and start to service and be of service to others. This is my calling. This is where I'm at, and I'm ready to go. This is, like I said, it took a little while to build up to this. It took lots of meditation. It took lots of journaling, and it took a lot of just letting go of everything that was holding me back, that was unnecessary. And so I'm ready. I'm ready to go and share.
Beautiful. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that we reconnected. Thank you for saying yes to teaching in the membership, for doing this podcast. And I'm just wishing you all the best in 2025. And we're going to see each other soon. So thank you for being on the podcast.
And I am so excited. Thank you, Heather, so much. I am so appreciative. You have no idea. Even think of me was just very, very, very generous of you. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
I received that. This was divinely ordained. You were like in the back of my mind. It was like, okay, it's time. It's time to reach out to Christina. So, all right, everybody.
Me too. I'm always like, I gotta talk to her. She is.
I know. It was meant to happen. It was meant to happen. All right. Thanks, Christina. We will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Take care, everyone.